Hi everyone, welcome to that course about Flexbox, which is a feature of CSS. Before going further, I would like to trigger three polls to know a bit more about what do you know about CSS code in general. So I'll just open the polls and I will wait. Wait, there's an okay. So I started three polls. The first one is about if you know HTML and CSS in general. Second one about Figma. Figma is a tool, a design tool to make mockups of website or applications or anything you need to design virtually. And the first question is about your code editor, if you use one, and or not, and which one do you use? Okay. I see that I get a few answers now. Okay. I will wait a bit to get a bit more answers. Okay. So I see that most of you have already used the CSS and HTML, so, which is nice. So I won't have to start it from the very beginning, but I will just make a quick introduction for those that who don't know much about that. Okay, great. I think I will go ahead now. And there's still answers coming. Okay, good. So, what is Flexbox and how can it be useful for you as a developer and maybe a designer if you want to be part of a upcoming hackathon or whatever project you have? Flexbox is a feature of CSS. CSS is a styling tool for HTML. So what is HTML? HTML is, this is an example of HTML and CSS. HTML is a programmatic language, not really programmatic, but not displaying language to create websites, but also web apps, mobile apps, and so on in different contexts, in specific context. And so you can see that HTML, it's like putting text between tags. For instance, here is a heading, and here's the result of it. So I've made a title, which is H1, and under it, I made a paragraph, which is called P, and it will automatically make it look like a paragraph. And with the CSS, you will be able to apply some style here, very basic, but just so you understand to your HTML. So just checking the answers here. Okay. So what is Flexbox for? Flexbox is a good tool to display more responsively your design. So with Flexbox, you will make code that will be good also for your laptop, for instance, but also for your phone or whatever the size of your screen, easier than without this quite new feature. It's 5 or 10 years on the market, but on the scale of HTML, it's quite new still. So, how does it work? I'm gonna just build a very quick example so you understand how it works. So, I don't know if you know this tool, CodePen. It's a tool that you can use inside your browser to quickly show some code and have the result here and there. So, I just create a container in which one I will put 5 boxes. Okay, one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So without CSS, it's just black and white text, but with the power of CSS, you will be able to to make whatever you want out of it. So I'm just gonna set some style for the container. Here I just take the class name with the dot of the div I created here of the container, and then in this container I will just say that it has a background that is color tomato with a padding is inner margin, so I put a padding of 16 pixels. Okay, and my boxes inside, I want them to be background light blue. Okay. I want them to have a specific width of 100 pixels and a specific height of 100 pixels. Okay, I want also to make it clearer to have a border of 2 pixels blue. Okay, here without Flex and Flexbox, the display is very basic, one under each other. You cannot have much responsiveness over it. It's very basic. So to make it more responsive, I will just trigger the Flexbox feature by adding this line on the container, display flex. Okay, automatically I have this horizontal arrangement of the boxes that is triggered, and from that moment I will be able to do a lot of little things that will have a huge impact on the display of the boxes. So first cool thing with Flex and CSS is that you can use the feature gap. So gap will give you, for instance, 17 pixels, this margin between the box without using margins in the child element. So it's very powerful feature because otherwise you have to specify all the time what's the margin and you will have a broken grid at some point. So with this very simple line, you will keep your work easy to use over the hours you spend on it. Then Flexbox is firstly used to handle the element of your containers. So to choose how would you want to align it, like for instance horizontally, I will use the justify content, for instance center here, and automatically will go to the center. But I can use the cool one that is space between, and then you see that it will automatically use all the space it can and it will adapt to the container. So if I change the size of my container, it will automatically adapt to it. Okay. Let's say, for instance, so I want to align horizontally. So let's say my container has a specified height of 250 pixels. Without this, wait. Okay. So now I want to my container, my boxes inside to be aligned vertically centered. So I will use the align items center. Okay. One thing about Flex is that you can you don't need to specify the width of your element if you want. So you can remove it and replace the width by flex equal 1. And now it will use all of the space. So whatever the device you're using to display your containers, it will adapt to it. So these are really the justified content and align items are the things you're gonna use the most. For instance, here I want the box 3 to have its own rules of alignment. So I can also use this align. So I will set align self flex star. Or I can put it on whatever box here. Okay. So why do we use flex start, for instance, or flex end instead of top, bottom, left, and right? It's because you can switch the display mode in Flex. So for instance, here by default, the Flex feature will go for horizontal displaying. I can use this um, uh, Flex direction thing to say, okay, I want my components to be displayed vertically. I will use column here. Okay. And it's a bit broken now, but I can go back to this width 100 pixels here to make it look properly. Okay. So here are the very basics of how you will use Flexbox to display your things in a not very pertinent example. What we're gonna do now is that I'm gonna show you how to integrate like a design that exists. So a design made under Figma. Figma is very nice because you can design your elements with the keys of Flex. So everything that is done inside my design already uses some Flexbox features. And you can, for instance, you can see here that if I inspect it, it will give me some CSS that will be totally usable. So you can see that it uses Flex here, Flex direction, Flex start, and so on, stuff that I just showed you. So what I want to do now is to make a demonstration of how to turn these flat designs into code that you can use in your application or web app. Okay. So first I will focus on one card, and then I will, by using Flex, give instruction to the code. So when it's being displayed in the small screen, it will automatically go on the vertical display. So I will start by creating just a card. So I use this. So yeah, if you don't know this trick, it's very useful. Instead of typing div class equal, you can just type dot and the name of the class you're gonna give. So, and then you hit tabulation. Okay, so here is the container of one card I'm gonna build. What I see here in my design is that in fact I have two columns. The first column here to display this user picture or text and the main content of the card. So what I'm gonna do to make it happen is that I'm gonna create a first column that I'm gonna call user picture, and inside of it I will just put the two letters here. So what I'm gonna do first is to just write down the HTML and then apply the style to it, so I can keep sure that all my elements are coherent, and it's important to really start by just doing the HTML, and then once you have all your elements in your HTML, just apply the style to it. So I will have a first column here for this, and a second column here for the content of the card. So I will create another div called card container, and in this second column, I can see that in my design it's divided into there's a first block containing the title and the stars, and a second block for the paragraph. So I will make a div called card header, and in this one I will put a title, product review, and I will create another div for the stars, and I will create 5 stars here. Okay, not like this, not like this. Oh, no, I forgot to put the star in here. So instead, here's a little trick. Instead of exporting an image of the star, what you can do is find on the internet the keyboard character for a star. So I just type character star here, and I can see that I can use this character as a text inside of my code here. Okay, here, and like that, because it's a character, I can apply all the style I will want to it without having to handle an image. Okay, and the last one. Okay. So as you can see, without CSS, it's still very black and white. So I keep going on and finish this this HTML. So I have the card container. Inside the card container, I have the card header. So this part. And now I need a container for the paragraph here. So I will create here a card content. Yeah. And inside of it, I will create a paragraph. I can just copy paste it from here. Okay. Here I have all the HTML I need to have my card. So now with the magic of CSS, I will just put some lines of code to make it look like exactly what it looks like in my design tool. So I will start by adding a container wrapper over it. So I can make a difference between the background and the card. So my card will have, as I can see here, a box, a shadow to make it different from the background. So I get the shadow, the CSS. It's all done in Figma, so you just can copy it like that, apply it like this, and same. I see that there is a small border, so you can copy paste the border from it. Okay, and my container has some padding, which is some inner space. Okay, now I see that there's a difference. So I have my border and my shadow. I see in my Figma file that I have a 32 pixel margin all around the card, so I can simply add padding 32 pixels. I can also see that I have here a little radius, and this radius is 12 pixels, so I can just take it from here. Okay, so I start to have something that looks like a card. Now I will use Flexbox to say that I want this card, this user picture and this card container as a simple row. So I will just use display row, display flex. So now it becomes on the same line. So I will have to fix it because it's not exactly the same height, but it's okay. Before going before continuing it, I can see that it's totally different font on my Figma file than on my rendering. So I see here that the font used is called it's called Inter. So to find it, I will just type on Google font Inter, and I see it's a Google font, so I can grab it for free and without downloading it, just by picking it up like that. So I pick up the styles I need. Okay, all of those. And I will import it in my CSS just with this line. And okay. Okay, here. Good. And then I will tell that all my HTML must use that font. It's called Inter. Good. So I can keep going on the style of that card. So I know that in my design, this first column, user picture, it's an orange circle with the text white on it. So I know that it's 52 per 52 pixels circle, 52 per 52, and it has this orange background. I can pick up here the hexadecimal code. Okay, and I forgot to put the X here. Yeah, also one thing that Flexbox does is to override the width properties you give to your elements. So to force it, I will just put min width 52 pixels. Okay, now I want this thing to be rounded. So I will put a border radius of 50% on it. And here I can also use this Flexbox display. So I will hit display Flexbox, display flex, and use the justify content. Save it. Just the justify content center and align it items center. Great. Also the color is white. Okay. Now I can go to my card container content. So here I see that there's a problem with the top margin because it's supposed to be a line on top with this. So if I don't know what's going on, I can use the inspect tool of Google Chrome or Firefox to see that the H2 here, it's a bit tricky to have all of it in the same. Okay, as preset margin. So I will override the margins on top and on bottom to make it look like I want in the design. Okay, little thing here. I don't know if you ever used SCSS. You can just in CodePen just trigger it like this. It will enable you to use style inside styles settings here. So for instance, instead of having to type card container H2 and for every block I need just to repeat it, I can put it like that, H2 margin margin top 0, margin bottom. I can see in my design that it's 8 pixels difference between the stars and it, so I can just put margin bottom 8 pixels. Okay, should be working. That okay. And what I told you in the previous example is that I can use the gap to make it like a grid. So I will have a regular space between the element. So in my card, I will use that gap feature. And I see here that if I go to the inspect tab, I have a gap of 24 pixels. So if there were more than 2 elements, every element will be separated by 24 pixels. So I can just use the 24 pixels here and go ahead. Okay, great. Now, the stars, I also want them to be displayed horizontally, so I will use the display flex here. And it's not supposed to be called div, it's supposed to be called stars. Yep, okay. And I can also use that gap thing, it's 4 pixels between the stars. And I want them to be green, so as it's just text, I can change the color by just using the color feature. Okay, and I can put it's not supposed to be called div, star 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 and disabled here. Okay, and I can add like the style for the specific class I added here by adding end.disabled and set the color as gray or light gray. Disabled. Okay. Is it working? I have a problem here. Stars. Okay, that's because. Okay, star. Okay. Here I have my specific color for the last one. And okay, I see that I have all the elements in my design. I can just specify the color of my text here by using this. So I have the card content, here is it? card content and set it to this color with a line. Okay, it's color with a line 8 of 150%. Okay, good. So here I created my card using Flexbox. So everything here, my card is responsive. I can resize my window. It will fit the window. What I want to do now is to have 3 of them and to make them responsive. So you know, if my screen is under a certain width, I want them to go one under each other without putting specific rules of, for instance, breakpoints. So what I can do here is duplicate my card. I will put 3. Okay. So we can see that without Flexbox, it goes like this. I just need to tell that I want to use Flex and that I'm gonna use a gap of 24 pixels between each. Okay, great. So now if I do that, my card will just shrink until it counts. So what I'm gonna do is to tell that okay, if the width is too small, I want them to wrap under. So use the flex wrap feature to say wrap, and on the card, okay, I'm gonna use flex 1, okay, and I want them to have a minimum of 240 pixels. Like that. Just with this, I'm gonna tell the code to fit the width of my screen. So that's perfect. Without putting breakline or anything, I was able to in 2 lines to determine some widths and some behaviors depending on the screen, which is actually great when you know, like on this point it's a simple thing, but sometimes it's a lot of specificities to set to set as breakpoints. So that's a very big upside of using Flex for the maximum element you can. So now I'm gonna share this pen with you on the chat, and I'm gonna ask you to create a code pen and to design to code another example that I've made here of like user cards. So it's very similar. So with the help of this thing, you should be able to code this. So I first share in the chat here. Chat. Okay. Sorry, I didn't see the chat first. So yeah, all the commands you need to use this are here on the link that Francesco shared. There's this thing, so CSS flexible box layout, but there's also this website that you can use as a cheat sheet to visually see exactly what you want to do and what's the command you need to apply it. So this is really something that you should keep as a favorite on your browser. So I share it here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So back to the exercise. I share the code pen of what we just did up here. Okay. So you can open it, see, play around with the code, see how it's done, and you can is this the good one? No, it's not the good one. I'm not gonna share this one because it's another one that I made that is a bit more complex. So this one is easier to handle. Okay, here. And what I want you to do now is to, if you don't have Figma, you can use it directly in the browser. So open this design with Figma, and in CodePen, I shared it on the chat. And in CodePen, make a new pen. You need to register. but it's very quick. You can register with Facebook or Google and build this this code based on what we did here. So for those that never used Figma, you just need to click here and open it and register it instantly with Google. You don't need to download the app. It works in browsers, and to create a new pen at codepen.io. I'm just taking a break 5 minutes so you can open the elements you need to start doing it. And I'll be back in 5 minutes to make the exercise with you for those that really need help to go ahead, or for those that want to do it on their own, they can do it. So, and in the end, you will be able to share me the code pen that you built, and I will be able to help you if you have issues for some points on it. Okay, I stopped the camera, but I mean here in the chat if you need any help for CodePen or Figma. Can you tell me in the chat if you managed to start coding the design example in CodePen? Great. So while those that think they can do it on their own, I will start doing it live so you can get some tricks and tips out of doing it. Okay. Okay. So basically, it's quite similar to the example I just made. I just made it simpler, so it's just one column. And I'm gonna, as I did for the previous example, I will start to design one card and then duplicate it to make it displayed as I want it to be displayed. So I start with a container here and with a card again. And that card will just contain a profile picture, let's say, with the letter JD inside. And it will contain the title, the name of the person, and a paragraph. Okay, and a button. Representative. Okay, contact me. Okay. As you can see, as you might see here, there's a little trick. So it's not 4 elements, it's actually 3 elements. And in the second one, there's the title plus the paragraph. So I will put a container around the title and the paragraph. Card content. Okay. Yeah, and I can use this format HTML to make it clear. Okay. So in the container, I will put a padding 32 pixels. And the card has some shadow, exactly like in the other one. So I can pick the shadow here. Yeah, copy, paste, and the border also here. Okay. There's a padding of here it's 32 pixels. Okay, and a border radius of 16 pixels. Okay. Once again, I will use the same font. That font is called Inter, so I take it back from Google Fonts. I will select the regular size. Okay, those ones. I import it as CSS that I put at the beginning of my file here. I will tell that all the HTML should use that font. Okay. Will you share the final product with CodePen? Yeah, definitely. I just want you to like do it first and send me your CodePens so I can check it and make show what's has been well done and give some tips about how you can make it better and clearer. So as soon as I will have finished this example, I will wait a bit and I will wait for some of you to send me your CodePens. And then at that moment, I will share this one. Okay. The card, the profile picture, its background is that green. So yeah, I need to use flex here. So I will use display flex. And I want my element not to be vertical. I want them to not to be horizontal. I want them to be vertical. So I use that flex feature, which is flex direction colon. And I want my elements to be vertically centered. So I will use this as its flex directional colon. I have to use this justify content center. Okay, so the profile picture has a specific size. With 65 pixels, 8, 65 pixels. Okay, I want it to be displayed flex to everything centered, so justify content. Center, align items, center. Okay. Good. Center here too. The color is white of the text and the border radius is 50% because it's a square and I want the borders to be fully rounded. Okay, let's save that. Okay. Everything inside of my card I want to be text align centered. Okay, and now I still have to set some gap and some button style. So I will just style the button as it is in the design. So its background is that specific blue. I take it from here, and it has a border radius of 4 pixels. I can basically just copy paste this. Okay, and it has some padding of 14, 24, 14, 24. So 14 on top and 24 on the sides. I can put the shortcut for it like that. Right, okay. And the color of the text is white. And that's it. Okay, I have my card here. Not really, actually. I still have some issues with the margin of the text. I will say that the H2 has a margin top of 0 and a margin bottom and a margin bottom of 16 pixels or 8 pixels, I think. Okay, and what I forgot that is very important here is the gap between the lines of my elements. So the card has a gap of, and here it's set as 20 pixels in the design. Okay. Now I will duplicate that card 3 times, so I have the result that I want. Up, up. I need my container to know that I'm using Flex. And I still want a gap of 32 pixels between them. Okay, I have my cards that are quite responsive. So, does anyone have some code pen to share so we can see how you're doing it and give you some tips? Can you share the code pens in the whatever the state of advancement? Share the code pen in the chat, please. Not yet. Hmm? So I will wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes if you prefer, and in 5 minutes I will ask you again if you have something to share. Otherwise, you'll be able to send me what you did later, and I can give you feedback on it. So I just cut the mic and camera for 5 minutes, and I let you work on it. Okay. Does anyone has like a code pen to share now, or you're still working on it? Otherwise, what I'm gonna do now is to share the code pen here. So maybe some of you found the URL already, and you can compare to your work. If you have a question or need help, if you want to keep going on that exercise, because we're at the end of that course now, I can give you my email address, or you can contact me through CodePen on this thing to ask me questions on why I use this specific settings here or not through CodePen, and I can give you help to finish the exercise on your own. Matthias, I don't know if you're here. I'm gonna leave you the floor now.
Yes, thank you very much, Guillaume, and thank you all for taking part in this third and final of this summer hackathon courses. I hope you all learned something and that it can be applied for your solutions that you will be working on towards the final hackathons here in the fall. If you haven't already, make sure to fill out the quick survey on your that we sent to you, so that we can pair you up with some mentors, so you can continue to work and get feedback. And then you should all shortly receive more information regarding your respective national final hackathons. But once again, thank you very much for taking part in these training courses. Thank you very much, Guillaume, for providing the training. and a nice afternoon/evening to you all.
Thank you. Bye.